Climate Crisis 101 emerged out of another class that I annually teach, UCSB's English 22, Introduction to Literature and the Environment. English 22 explores nearly 5,000 years of Western literature with the goal of better understanding contemporary environmental attitudes. While this proved to be a popular course over the years, it became clear that students really wanted to focus on the cultural implications of the climate crisis. So, after thinking it over for a few years, I introduced Climate Crisis 101 in order to do just that. I mention this because in order to expose students to a broad range of British and American literature, all UCSB English majors are required to take a four-sequence lecture course. That's English 101 through 104. That covers literature from the earliest Anglo-Saxon beginnings to the present. For many years, I taught the first installment, English 101, which includes texts from the early medieval period through 1650, including Chaucer, Shakespeare, and early Milton. The problem is that many students dread this course. When I taught the course during the summer, I learned that more than half of the students in the room had just walked after graduation, even though they hadn't taken English 101. So if students have just one or two courses to go, UCSB will allow them to take part in the graduation ceremony, but will not confer the degree until they finish the course. When I asked students why they dreaded English 101, I kept hearing the same story. They repeatedly put off the course because medieval and Renaissance English did not seem very interesting, with the possible exception of Shakespeare, whom, they often encountered in high school. And also because they found the prospect of reading Chaucer in the original Middle English daunting. Thoughtful students also noted that this early English literature often lacks diversity, as most of the writers that have been traditionally anthologized and taught are wealthy white men. Ironically, it has been my experience that once students take English 101, they tend to like it, or at least see the merit of having encountered its literature. Consequently, having taught English 101 many times over the years, I've seen the central challenge as presenting material in ways that, interest students. For example, I work at making the readings more diverse by including portions of the first autobiography in English by a woman and poems by English's first professional woman writer. However, given the current situation in the humanities, I've come to see that the more urgent challenge is getting students interested in the material before, that's rather than during, the lecture. If we fail to do this, courses like this are non-starters, as students will not even sign up for them. If English 101 were not required for the major, I imagine enrollment would plummet. Keep in mind that we're focusing on English majors here. If we stand back and consider the humanities in general and students that have not yet declared a major, the situation is even more grim and at the center of our current situation in the humanities. Students want to know why they should take our courses in majors, and this is a fair question. Answering that English majors will encounter 1,400 years of literature, which is held up as a sufficiently worthwhile goal in itself, is no longer a compelling answer for a broad swath of students. In response to the challenge of English 101, I developed a different sort of course. It is similar to English 101 insofar as we read one of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, one of Shakespeare's plays in Elizabethan English, and the opening books of Milton's Paradise Lost in its original 1667 iambic pentameters. In addition to those three canonical writers, we read over a dozen more English and American texts. We also read a range of classical literature, including a significant chunk of the 5,000-year-old Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, which is the first great work of Western literature, as well as Greek and Latin texts, including Hesiod, Theocritus, Ovid, Virgil, Cato, Varro, and Horace, and Loeb editions, which have the original Greek or Latin text on the left and English translations on the facing page. Finally, we looked at the philosophical and theological texts behind this, like portions of Plato's Republic, the opening books of the Bible, and one of Martin Heidegger's essays. In each case, we explored the challenge of translating specific Greek, Hebrew, and German philosophical terms and concepts into English. Unlike English 101, which students are often reluctant to take, this course, even though it is not a required English department course like English 101, fills the 860 seats of the largest lecture hall on campus with a significant wait list every year. Not only is it the large lecture course offered by the English department, the average lecture is only 200 students, it is the most popular elective on campus. So what is this course and how does it differ from English 101? Well, it's Eco-Criticism 101, Introduction to Literature and the Environment. The course asks a simple question. Why do we feel the way that we do about the environment? In addressing this question, we explore our culture's relationship to the natural world and its long history. Literary responses to environmental concerns are often as old as the issues themselves. Deforestation, air pollution, endangered species, wetland loss, animal rights, and rampant consumerism have long been appearing as controversial issues in Western literature for hundreds, and in some cases, thousands of years. Not surprisingly, our students are curious to learn why we feel the way we do about the environment. They see this as relevant and important, especially given, the current state of the world. Reading medieval and Renaissance literature is not the purpose of the class, as it is in English 101, but rather a means to what students see as a worthwhile end. Yet it would be terrific if we could get students to line up by the hundreds for the opportunity to just read medieval and Renaissance texts. But this is just not happening. Perhaps back in the 20th century they did, but times have changed. The solution is not to water down material. As noted above, Eco-Criticism 101 is a challenging course with readings easily as demanding as those in English 101. Arguably, by the way, even more demanding, given all its Greek and Latin texts. It's certainly not a humanities version of popular science courses like, Rocks for Jocks. Nonetheless, the course has confirmed for me that undergraduates are willing to put in the work for what they see as a worthwhile goal. And once in class, we can introduce them to the joys and merits of literature. In short, if enrollment numbers are any indication, in recent years, students are showing less interest in learning literature for the sake of learning literature. The lackluster interest in English 101 suggests that this is true even among English majors. However, if they believe it is for a worthwhile cause, students are lining up to take the class. If we were to reduce this to a concise maxim, it could be, quote, if you give them a reason that they find relevant, they will enroll. Note that the high enrollment is not for vocational or immediately practical reasons. Some environmental studies majors are enrolled in the class, but they're a small minority. Most students take the class simply because they find it interesting. While it is perfectly fine to argue that the humanities, majors get jobs once they graduate, it's not necessary to do so to get students to enroll in our class. Of course, once we have them in class, we can and should let them know, about the many vocational opportunities open to humanities major. However, job number one is first getting them into our classes. There is nothing particularly special about Eco-Criticism 101 in this regard. Yes, undergraduates are interested in environmental issues, but many other topics interest them as well. Many of our students, often from before they even enter college, are deeply concerned about a range of social justice issues, such as Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ plus rights and identity, climate and environmental justice, wealth inequality, the rise of nationalism, and so forth. I further believe that we have a moral obligation to introduce students to those important and timely issues. In the past few decades, the study of English has in many ways shifted from the study of literature to the study of culture. Hence, I think of myself more as more of a cultural historian than a literary critic, though, I am both. Because we are scholars of important cultural issues like climate change, race, queer studies, etc., why not teach English courses around these issues? Yes, I am aware that professors often bring these issues into English 101 through 104 lectures, but why not build the courses around them? Since a recent study has revealed that a third of high school teachers are teaching climate change skepticism, it is crucial that we remedy this at the college level. Debates around race, LGBTQ+ rights and identity, and a range of issues has similarly erupted on the public stage in recent years. We have a unique opportunity to make a difference in the world by helping our students sift through all this by way of courses built around these crucial issues. Thank you.